Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Mafalda, and in this video, I will be doing a follow-up to my previous video about sacred sexuality. So if you haven't watched that, then do watch it. This is a channel about spirituality, transformation, mysticism, and embodied wisdom. And as I was saying, this is a follow-up video to my previous video. I want to dive a little deeper into a couple of topics that will help shed light on sacred sexuality, what it means, and how it can really transform our lives. And so I'm going to be discussing a topic that I know is controversial. It's a little bit unpopular, but hey, that's why I'm here. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I am embracing it. So bring it on. Let's talk celibacy. And before anybody starts to tell me that I am conservative and traditional, hear me out. Celibacy is one of the most potent ways to reclaim your power. And as I was saying in my previous video, sexual energy is creative life force energy. And we live in a world where we have come into this idea that sexual activity is all about release. It's all about orgasm, and orgasm is basically the release of sexual energy. And that is why you'll notice that when you're not working with and harnessing your sexual energy, you will feel depleted after orgasm. And so reclaiming your sexual energy and learning how to harness it within will basically expand your power to levels that you had previously not imagined. Trust me. And when I say this, and when I talk about celibacy, and I myself have engaged in quite a few years of celibacy, when I talk about celibacy, I am not bringing up celibacy as a way to demonize sexuality or even to demonize masturbation. Absolutely not. And if you've listened to my previous videos, you'll know that sexuality is ultimately a magnificent portal to multidimensionality. And so I will never demonize sexuality. The expansion, the growth, the spiritual maturity, and just ecstatic bliss that I have experienced through my sexuality is beyond anything I had imagined, just like I said. And so I will never demonize it. But what I have come to know is that celibacy allowed me to reach much more expansive, higher levels in sexuality and with sexuality. And as I mentioned before, it has to do with the fact that when you were practicing celibacy, you are bringing back all this energy that you've literally been spreading out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because you've been engaging in sexual intercourse with multiple partners. It can absolutely be through masturbation and this obsession we have with release, with orgasm. And so when you practice celibacy, you can actually start reaching states of orgasmicness and bliss that are much deeper. So what we are used to as humans is a very surface level type of orgasm. And bliss and orgasmicness are not they're not, how can I say this? They're not just about that. They're way beyond that. And so in order to heal from all the sexual trauma, and you don't need to have been abused in childhood or raped to carry sexual trauma. We carry sexual trauma in our human collective psyche, and we have imprints of it. All of us carry it. You don't, yeah, like I said, you don't need to be a survivor in that way to carry it. But because of the widespread trauma that we have as humans, we simply can't just jump into those states. And so celibacy allows us to bring all that energy in and to start to harness and cultivate that power within ourselves. And what it does is it helps you come alive in ways that go just way beyond this state of numbness that most humans on this earth live in. And of course, we have been exposed to a lot of pornography and a lot of sexual content, sexual imagery that points a lot more toward abuse, toward power dynamics, toward surface level pleasure, as if the act of sex were simply 3D. And that's what I'm trying to get to. When you bring your energy back in and you engage in celibacy, you start to access your own multidimensionality within. And so you can imagine how that then translates into sacred sexuality with a partner. And this is something that I have experienced myself. I have direct experience, and I have come across many that have experienced the same. And so I still believe that celibacy itself is painted in a very dark light. Either it's encouraged through religious ideology as a form of repression, or in mainstream, let's say modern society, it's seen as, again, also as repression, right? In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not repression. Celibacy is not repression. Celibacy is reclaiming your power. Celibacy is acknowledging yourself as a creator being, as a creative being. And if you do engage in a healthy practice of celibacy, you will see your levels of creativity go through the roof. Go through the roof, literally. And you will also feel and expand into states of pleasure within your own being. You start to learn how to re-inhabit your own body. So what happens with humans is that we tend to seek outside to fill the void within. Whatever it is that we're seeking outside, we don't live embodied in our vessel. And that even goes for some spiritual practitioners and some spiritual lineages and masters and gurus. But I am here as part of a larger wave of spirituality embodied, or embodied spirituality. And so this practice of celibacy allows us to come back into the body and to start experiencing the pleasure, the orgasmicness of being in a body, of just being in a body. And it's so mind-blowing. It's earth-shattering when you start to experience this pleasure of being, of existing in form. And you'll start to realize that life itself is erotic. The eroticism of eating a mango, the eroticism of touching a leaf, of taking footsteps and putting your feet in the sand, the eroticism of hugging yourself, of touching yourself in ways that you might have previously not thought of as sexual, but that are sensual. And you see how this practice allows us to come back into the sensuality of sex that has been so lost because the focus is so much on orgasm and release, hitting that goal, as is so much of how society, modern society, is driven to achieve a goal and then move on in such a superficial, shallow way. And you start to bring sensuality to the act and to the process itself. You start to bring a presence to the sexual act with another. And that turns the whole sexual experience with a partner into blissful and orgasmic in itself, not because of the peak orgasm. And that's when you start to open the door to multidimensionality in form, in communion with another. And what that means is starting to commune with the divine through the sexual act. So I'm going to wrap this up by recommending celibacy to you if you feel called to. Do let me know if you have any questions. Leave me your thoughts and comments below. I really love to hear. Let me know if it resonates. And do like and subscribe if you found this content interesting and if you want to stay tuned for more, for what's coming. And also, I am here to be of service. I am a guide and a healer and a transformation coach, a mystic. So if you need one-to-one guidance and support, I also do energetic work, energetic healing. My details are below. I would love to help you on your journey in whatever way that I can. And I wish you a lovely, lovely day. We will see each other very, very soon in a video to come.